What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and today we are ranking all of Christopher Nolan's films, including Tenet, and I'm joined by Andy yet again, and I'm excited to get into this, man.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, for sure. Nolan is my favorite director. Tarantino has been for forever, but I think Nolan's upped him, honestly.
Nolan has 11 films, and the way we're going to rank them is we're each going to take turns, so one of us will go 11 through 6, 11 through 6, 5 through 2, 5 through 2, and then we'll give our number ones.
Nolan doesn't have any bad movies. The bottom, for me, is still good.
Yeah, I think that Nolan has never missed. He's made a good to great to amazing movie every single time. So coming in at number 11 for me is Following. This is Christopher Nolan's directorial debut, and it's only about an hour and 10 minutes. It's a black and white film. You can definitely see that there's ideas here for later projects such as Memento that deal with interesting timelines. He just didn't really have the budget for his liking. I really do enjoy the movie, though. I think that it's a fast watch, one I will rewatch every now and then, and it's by no means a bad movie. So coming in at number 10 for me is Insomnia. Now, this film stars Al Pacino, Robin Williams. The interesting thing about this movie is Christopher Nolan actually didn't write the screenplay. He just directed it. You can kind of tell that, but it's still a really good movie. It's a solid, crime drama thriller movie that really plays on the title as Al Pacino's character begins to suffer through insomnia throughout the entire time. He's in Alaska, and it's daylight all the time, so he really starts to lose his mind throughout this movie, and I think that makes it really interesting in and of itself. And Robin Williams plays a really creepy dude in this movie, so rest in peace. He's a legend. He could have done it all. But Insomnia is one I haven't watched as much, just like Following. Just because I don't rewatch them as much does not make them bad movies. So coming in at number 9 for me is The Dark Knight Rises. Rises is probably my least favorite of the trilogy. It's still a really good action movie, though. Bane, played by Tom Hardy, is a phenomenal villain, and the intro to this movie is so awesome, especially the way they shot it all in IMAX. I think that it's a very fitting conclusion to the Dark Knight trilogy. I love the way that it ends. It's still one of the most chilling endings, and Hans Zimmer's score is phenomenal. The Dark Knight Rises is a ton of fun. It's honestly one of Nolan's most rewatchable movies. Coming in at number 8 for me is Memento, starring Guy Pearce. Now, this movie is so clever, the way that Nolan was able to pull it off, and it's only his second film. Just how the movie is told, just the way that he wrote this movie is bonkers to me. I have no idea how he even thought of this concept, but it's a very interesting movie. It's very confusing, complex, not one that I rewatch as much, but still, I have to give Nolan credit for pulling this movie off. Coming in at number 7 for me is Batman Begins, the first film in the Dark Knight trilogy, one that I really do enjoy.
Low.
Yeah, I know, this is shocking to some. It's one of the best origin films of all time. I really do enjoy this movie. Scarecrow, played by Cillian Murphy, really solid villain. Ra's al Ghul in here, played by Liam Neeson. Nolan crafts very interesting action sequences. The I'm Batman moment gives me chills every time that I see it, and overall, it's just such a solid start to this trilogy. I like how you see Bruce Wayne become Batman. It ends with a bang. And the score, man, that gets me every time. Coming in at number 6 for me is Interstellar. This movie stars Matthew McConaughey, just so epic in scale. It's a visually stunning space film by Nolan. Hans Zimmer's score is one of my favorite Zimmer scores of all time. And what the movie says about time and love, how love essentially transcends time, it's a very beautiful message, and I remember seeing it in theaters. One of the greatest theatrical experiences I've ever had.
Yeah, that was a great list right there, even though I disagree with Batman Begins being so low. For me, just wanted to say right off the bat, I'm only going to be doing 9 movies because I haven't seen Following and I haven't seen Insomnia, but I would like to and will one day. Number 9 for me is The Prestige.
Oh my goodness.
I know that a lot of people, including you, probably disagree with that. I've only seen The Prestige once. And, I mean, it's not a bad movie. It is a little too much, I think, at times. The Prestige is just, a little too complex at parts. It's not like I'm saying I can't follow it, but just some of this movie I just did not connect with. And Scarlett Johansson's character I also did not connect with. She's my favorite actress. I love her. And her role in this was just not that great. David Bowie was cool. I liked that role. Bale and Hugh Jackman, it was fun to see them work off each other. Just my least favorite Nolan movie for sure. So number 8 for me is going to be Interstellar. I know that might be low as well. I love Matthew McConaughey's performance in this movie. It's actually my favorite Matthew McConaughey performance. Nolan really went all out. He didn't even care if the audience couldn't follow it. He just did what he wanted to, and I respect him for that. Matt Damon's role in this movie is hilarious.
I forgot
he just shows up. Yeah. But all that stuff in space is spectacular. The visuals are outstanding. The score is super good, but also with this movie too, very complex. Not that I can't follow it. It's just not my favorite concept in the end. But I do like the score whenever him and Murph are talking. And it's also funny that a little Timothée Chalamet appearance in this movie before he was famous. Yeah. Number 7 for me is going to be Memento. This is a movie that I really do love. One of his first original movies that he got nominated for. Guy Pearce in this movie is so good. He's all over the place. His mind is so screwed up. He has all the tattoos. That's an iconic character, I think, for Nolan. One of his best characters. The movie is all over the place. It takes place out of order. And I liked how he did that. It was very creative. I just love Memento, but it is lower on my list because Nolan is just so good. So number 6 for me is The Dark Knight Rises. And this is obviously the worst Batman movie. For me, the reason why it's not like at the bottom is because I love Bale as Batman. This is one of my favorite trilogies, if not my favorite trilogy. And Bane is just such a good villain. Catwoman's so great. The action is spectacular. The opening scene is amazing. And, I mean, the last 30 minutes are awesome. Like, some of the best stuff in the trilogy. So, I got to give it respect for that.
So, coming in at number 5 for me is Dunkirk. Nolan's second latest film, the war epic that essentially takes place from the land, sea, and air, and I love the way that he pulled this movie off. The first time I saw it, I was kind of confused because I saw certain scenes from different perspectives, but by the end, I really did understand it. Tom Hardy in this movie as the pilot doesn't have many lines of dialogue, but he's just such a badass character on screen. I just think the movie is about the event itself, and I'm so intrigued from beginning to end. The movie flies by. It's one of Nolan's most fast-paced films. Very easy watch, in my opinion, and the action is just next level good. I don't know how he did not win Best Director for this movie. The way he was able to put everyone in position, and just so many of these scenes are just mind-boggling. I have no idea how he did it, but Dunkirk's a really, really great war movie. Coming in at number 4 for me is the newly released Tenet. This movie I have now seen twice in theaters. I'm going to continue to see it more and more because it's just a puzzle I want to keep digging deeper into and just fully grasp everything. The more I see this movie, I think I will. John David Washington and Robert Pattinson give great performances. Robert Pattinson, I love the man. I can't wait to see what he does next, and this is easily Nolan's most complex and confusing film, but with each watch, I'm starting to gain more and more of an appreciation for it. Ludwig Göransson's score is stunning. It's one of my new favorite scores. As of right now, I hope he wins the Oscar for Best Original Score. And the action is breathtaking. Nolan continues to push those boundaries. I have no idea in 10 years from now if he's still making movies. The action, I can't even imagine. So coming in at number 3 for me, this is where we're going to get those dislikes, is The Dark Knight. Yes, the acclaimed film that everyone loves, including myself. It's a fantastic comic book movie and superhero movie, one of the best of all time. This movie is really anchored by Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker. Rest in peace. He gives one of the best performances in cinematic history here. Just so quotable as well. I really enjoy the opening heist, the bank robbery, just locks you in from the beginning as Zimmer's score accompanies it beautifully. And then, of course, the ending of this film with the score is great as well, with the Harvey Dent scene and everything. I do have a little bit of some problems with, like, the boat scene. I'm not crazy about that. That's where it drags me. But the movie is still amazing. One of the best superhero movies of all time. Coming in at number 2 for me is The Prestige, the movie that we differ on the most by far. I've seen this movie 4 or 5 times, and every time I watch it, I love it more, as I'm able to watch it from a different lens, and just because I know what the end result is, it's so much fun to just pick up on the little details and hints that Nolan leaves each time. The rivalry between Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale is really fun to see on screen, and the final reveal in this movie just had my jaw on the floor the first time I saw it. What it has to say about obsession, really well done. Final shot of this movie is brilliant. The whole thing is brilliant to me.
That's a pretty good list, even though Prestige is at number 2. Completely disagree with that.
I disagree.
Number 5 for me, though, is Tenet, newly released. I mean, what a badass movie this was. The time inversion, all that stuff was so good to see. The action was some of Nolan's best action, if not the best. The characters were great, John David Washington and Robert Pattinson in particular. And I mean, Nolan better get nominated for Best Director, and if not, win.
I don't know if he will. That's a topic for another time.
Yeah, he'll be in the running, though, for sure. Number 4 for me is going to be Dunkirk, a movie I absolutely love. Our number 4 and 5 are swapped. Dunkirk is super good. I mean, like you said, it's not about the characters. I don't even know one character's name in that movie.
George.
Yeah, George. But other than George, it's all about the event that happened at Dunkirk, and Nolan's scale in this movie, I mean, dang, like, it is so good. I was rooting for him hard that year to win Best Director. He didn't, but he should have. The action in this is so good. The score by Hans Zimmer is iconic to me. It's one of my favorite Nolan scores for sure. I just love, like, the themes that he puts throughout it, and I mean, like you said, Tom Hardy's character is cool too. Don't know his name, but it's still awesome. Number 3 for me is one that you had very low on your list, and I disagree with, and that's Batman Begins. Okay. Batman Begins is one of my favorite origin stories, if not my favorite. I think Iron Man is number 1. This is number 2. I remember when I saw this as a kid, when his parents died, it like really scared me. And then the whole training with like Ra's al Ghul and all that stuff is great. Liam Neeson is a great villain in this, I think. And then just to see him suit up as Batman, take on Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow, who's one of the most badass characters in this trilogy, is awesome. And I mean, at the end, whenever they tease the Joker, I love that too. The whole train stuff is also great. Like, this is one of Nolan's best movies for me, for sure. So number 2 for me is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's in my top 20 movies of all time, and that is Inception. I mean, what a grand movie this is. Like, Nolan's biggest scale, I think, is in this movie, and he really like plays with it too. Like, bending the cities is so like spectacular. One visual should have. I wish it won score, because the score in this movie is so great. I love how it starts off so loud and then it ends with so calmly with time. Leo DiCaprio in this movie as Cobb. What a great Nolan character. One of the best Nolan characters. The characters in this movie that surround Cobb, the crew that he forms for the dream heist, is also so great, especially Tom Hardy and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. All their characters spell out dreams too, the first letter of their names, which is an awesome detail.
Coming in at number 1 for me, no surprise here if you followed the channel for any time, is Inception, the movie that Andy had as number 2. It is essentially changed cinema, in my opinion, when it comes to the visual effects, Hans Zimmer's score, and just the plot itself. I think it took Nolan 10 to 15 years to write this script.
Yeah, it did.
Which is absolutely insane. All of it is just so brilliant, in my opinion. I could rewatch this movie for days. Seeing it on the big screen recently was such a great experience. So immersive, and I definitely think Nolan designs his films for the big screen, especially Inception. This is my favorite Nolan film, and it will be for years to come. I absolutely adore everything about it. Leo's performance is top-notch. I wish he would have gotten an Oscar nom, and the ending, Time by Hans Zimmer, accompanies it beautifully. This movie is a chef's kiss.
My number 1 is my favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight. Of course, this movie was the biggest movie that came out in 2008, even though Iron Man came out. Heath Ledger's Joker is my favorite performance of all time. Christopher Nolan like pulled it out of him so well. And also, not only him, the whole cast is dang fantastic, but him in particular is just so scary, so menacing, and so iconic. And it just sucks that he had to go before this movie came out, because I would have loved him winning the Oscar on stage. I love how he plays with Gotham instead of like Tim Burton's like childish Gotham. This is a more realistic version of it. The dialogue in this movie is beyond perfect. Like, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is whenever the Joker and Two-Face are talking in the hospital, and he's like, introduce a little anarchy. I know you said you weren't a fan with the boat scene. Yeah. I actually don't mind that at all. I think that the scene between Batman and Joker, their final scene, is perfect cinema right there. And that last shot of him, like The Dark Knight, and it closes, just chills ending every damn time.
So that's going to do it for our ranking of all Christopher Nolan films, including Tenet. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. It would mean the world. Definitely consider hitting the like button, and comment down below your ranking of the Nolan films. Do you agree with our list? Do you disagree with them? What do you think of The Dark Knight being number 3 on my list and The Prestige being number 9 on his list? Let us know all that down below. But hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for future content, all that good stuff. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.
See you guys.